Story of BEAMER starts with a listing that I had, 55 acres in Marion County. Got the listing, secured the listing, and immediately knew that someone was going to be very interested in this property. I called a really good client of mine who I'd sold some farms to in the past, and he come looked at it, got the deal on paper, and got that done. And talking with him, he had agreed to lease me the farm for hunting. When we first got the deal closed, and after the terms of the lease were laid out, we got out and put a couple trail cameras up. Had really no idea what was in there. Previous owner didn't hunt, had no trail cameras, no history, no kill history, nothing. And almost immediately, just this deer we call Young Guns was just showing up every day on daylight. Just an awesome 3.5-year-old deer, 155, 160-inch deer. Just awesome potential, great genetics, a couple other really nice deer on the farm. So the plan had been laid out, been put in place for this farm. In come the tracos and the bulldozers. We pushed about almost 5 acres, about 4.8 acres of timber out. We got our windrows put up for blocking to force deer around from either the southeast or anywhere in the north, northwest, or northeast where they could enter that food plot, and started thinking about what we were going to plant. And I'm a firm believer in grains. I really like planting a grain early, and then coming back that fall and what they've eaten out or what didn't mature, what didn't materialize, we'll go back and till that up and put in our greens. So far the plan's going great. We've got a lane cleared to the food plot. We got the food plot cleared. We did decide to go with corn this first year. Got in there and got our our soil test done, and got the fertilizer and the lime and everything we needed down, and got urea down, and got the corn planted, and at this point everything is going great. Everything was going right. We got the rains when we needed the rains, and we got dry when we needed dry, and corn was looking really good. And we'd put 2 cameras up on that corn plot, one at the north and one at the south, and sure enough, Young Guns was showing up. And reviewing the pictures and the videos, I mean, this deer Young Guns is just blown up into this Boone and Crockett stud. I mean, he's 4.5 years old, arguably 3.5, probably 175, 180-inch deer. I mean, and we're fired up at this point. We get back in there, and kind of the ends of the cornfields have been eaten out, which is pretty normal. So at that time, we decided that we need to get in there and get that tilled under and get some Imperial Whitetail wintergreens in on each end. And we decided to set stand locations at both ends, one for any one direction that we come up with. So at this point, everything's going to plan. I mean, we've got this deer Young Guns. He's just showing up in front of both stands. We quickly realized that this farm was still missing one key ingredient. There was absolutely no water on the farm, no creeks, no ditches, no ponds, no nothing. So the decision was made that we'd get in there with a skid steer, and like I said, there was just a little bit of a draw in the middle of that cornfield, laid out perfect. Went in there and dammed up a little area and got a nice little 1/4 acre water hole. It didn't take long to realize that that water hole was the right thing to do. I mean, it's summertime, it's hot out, and these deer are just hammering this water hole. I mean, they're coming to this food plot for water more than they're coming to it for food. Just all day, every day, all night, there's deer out walking in it, drinking out of it, and they just can't get enough of this water. So season's coming around. I mean, we are super excited. We've got, I mean, all of our plans are coming together. We've got 3 stand locations. We've got rope scrapes, we got scrape trees, I mean, everything's perfect. Young Guns is showing up almost every evening. and there's a cold front coming the first week of season. It's October 3rd, and we know this cold front's coming, and I can't sleep at night. I'm ready to put an arrow in this deer we call young guns, and something catches their eye on the camera. It's a new buck. And I mean, he is hitting every scrape in the woods, every rub in the woods. And I mean, this deer's bullying everybody out in the food plot, pushing other bucks off. And we start contemplating, should we change plans? We'd taken notice of this new buck that showed up on the camera, but you know, it's early season, bachelor groups are breaking up, and just kind of brushed it off as a deer passing through. Maybe he liked our corn or our water, but it's October 7th. It's the first cold front of the year, and we're packing our stuff, and we're gonna get young guns on the ground. It's October 7th, and just this whole entire year, it just blows my mind how this plan is coming together. Everything's perfect. We know this deer's coming. It's the first day of the cold front, and out he steps.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? What did I tell you? I told you tonight's the night. That is a giant. A freaking giant, bro.
This deer was obviously comfortable here. I mean, he fed down there at the other end of that food plot for probably an hour and a half, and we made the decision to get down and get out of there. I mean, probably even before we normally would have, just to make sure we were out of there before he made his way to the south end of that food plot. So we'll fast forward to, it was October 17th. Young guns had been gone for 10 days at this time, and we're starting to notice that this deer that showed up October 3rd, he's still around, and he's just pushing every buck on the farm out of that food plot. He doesn't want any competition. I mean, if there was any ever a definition of a bully buck, this is him. He'd come. The younger bucks are out pushing does and grunting and snorting and doing all kinds of crazy stuff for pre-rut, and he would come out of the field just his only goal was to get rid of those bucks. Didn't look at another doe, didn't smell another doe, didn't chase after another doe. He was pushing those bucks out. That was his only job.
Kind of losing track of how many sets we've made on him, but he's been going MIA for about 10 days. Hadn't had him on cameras, hadn't seen him in person, and he showed back up this morning about 3 o'clock.
So we decided to go ahead and hunt that evening and get out there, and I mean, pretty quiet night until right before dark. I mean, we had a couple 2.5-year-old bucks come out, some does come out. Just last light, this buck comes out of the woods, and I mean, just totally just dominates these other 2 bucks and runs them completely off. So as we're sitting there in the stand and kind of looking through pictures and videos and looking at him in the field, and realizing that this buck isn't going anywhere, we decided we'd give him a name, and it's kind of evident right here how he got his name, BEAMERs, extremely long main beams. This is a really, really cool deer. We'll fast forward a few days. Young Guns is kind of back in the picture. He'd shown up on a camera here and a camera there really inconsistently, not showing up like he'd had been the previous year or even earlier that year. And at this point, Young Guns is still our target buck. At this point in the season, we're 3 weeks into October, and Young Guns' appearances are becoming less and less frequent, and this deer, BEAMERs, is there every day. He's obviously trying to establish his dominance on this farm. So it's the last week of October, and it's just weighing on our minds. Like, is this deer going to run Young Guns off this farm? Is this deer going to push young guns into someone else's crosshairs. Like, what do we do now? So the conversation begun. We're down to the last couple of days of October. BEAMERs is still the bully buck, and young guns is still kind of just inconsistently showing up. And just got to thinking about the farm and the health of the farm and what was right for the farm and what we should do. And the decision was made that we would switch target bucks, that we were no longer after young guns, and BEAMERs would be in our crosshairs.
Well, we're back at it. It's October 31st, Halloween. I've never killed a deer, never killed a buck on Halloween before, so I'd like to see that happen tonight. We got 2 shooter bucks on this farm. We've been chasing a deer we call young guns, and we can't seem to get it right. I decided to sit in the north end of the field, and he comes out in the south, and I decided to sit in the south end of the field, and he comes out in the north. So this morning, young guns, both bucks have been here in the last 24 hours. Young guns showed up on the south plot. Cameraman Kyle's asked him, he says, "What stand you want to sit tonight?" "I think we ought to set the south stand." He said, "All right, we're going to hunt the north stand then." Sounds like a plan. I guess I ain't got it right yet, so why not? BEAMER is trying to push young guns out of the area, and he's definitely got better genetics. Genetics I'd like to see passed on. So we've kind of made a in the moment decision and switch gears here a little bit, and I think our number 1 target buck is going to be BEAMERs moving here on out. I know I've made a lot of posts and talked a lot about the other deer, the big 3-year-old or 4-year-old or however old he is, but we're going to make a decision that I think is best for the farm and swap target bucks.
So over the course of those couple days, the last couple days in October, several conversations was had about, switching target bucks and letting young guns go. And part of the biggest reason that decision was a little bit easier to make, I'm not going to say it was easy to make, young guns the giant, was the fact that young guns, in the 1.5 years, almost 2 years that I'd been associated with this farm, like that deer never left this farm. My neighbors didn't. It's only a 55-acre property. My neighbors didn't have any pictures of young guns. No one had seen this deer, driving around and looking at velvet bucks. Like, I was confident that young guns was going to stay on this farm. He had never left the farm until BEAMER showed up. So I was convinced myself and made myself comfortable that if we could get BEAMERs killed, that young guns will be back and he'd be back to stay. I don't think I'll ever remember the exact moment that we made the full commitment to switching our target from young guns to BEAMERs. We were sitting in the stand, in the tree stand. We'd just gotten in the stand. We're still talking about these 2 deer and what we should do. And the evening of Halloween, October 31st, we're in the stand and we make the decision that BEAMERs is our new target buck for sure.
Here we are back at it. It's October 31st. It's Halloween. Been chasing deer we call BEAMERs, young guns all year. Long story short, we've made the decision to kind of switch our focus a little bit to deer we call BEAMERs. We're sitting at the north end of the food plot tonight. Last time we sat at the south end, he came out in the north. When we sat on the north, he came out in the south. Halloween, October 31st. Gonna get it done tonight.
At this point, this deer BEAMERs, he's daylighted in these food plots, one end or the other, for 4 days in a row. He's coming, and we made that decision and got settled in. And it wasn't an hour later, I get the tap from the cameraman. "Hey, just got a picture on the trail camera. BEAMERs is in the south food plot, and he's coming." We know this deer's coming. We've got a picture of him coming into the corn from the south food plot, which is about probably 140 yards away. We know this deer's coming. Tensions are high, hands are shaking, palms are sweaty. This deer's on its way to us, but we can't see him. Like, we don't know where he went. He's in the middle of this cornfield somewhere. Did he exit stage left? Is he still coming? We're not sure at this point. I know it seemed like eternity. In my mind, it had been hours, but probably within 15 minutes of getting that picture in that south food plot that our target buck is heading our way, I catch a glimpse of a horn. I grab Kyle. I'm like, Kyle, there he is. He's coming. I mean, I can see him.
You got him? Yeah, I got him. I'm gonna slip and fall. I need to pull back.
So this deer, I catch a glimpse of him. Cameraman's on him. He's coming through the corn and gets to the edge of the corn, and there he is, hung up again. He's just hung up. He's looking. I'm nervous. We don't know what's going on. Is he going to come in? Is he going to turn around? You know, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? So much goes through your mind in what seems like, again, eternity. But, you know, in all reality, he was probably hung up maybe 5 minutes, and he started course straight to our stand.
I'm ready.
Matt.
Got him. I smoked him.
I mean, initially I thought I smoked him. I thought I'd just graze that shoulder blade and put it right where I was supposed to. And but then calmed down, deer run off, and we get to reviewing the footage, and obviously I'm just a little bit farther back than I'd imagined I was.
We switched target bucks tonight. Came out like clockwork, exactly like you've been doing. And man, I pulled the shot a little bit. I think we hit a little farther back. We're gonna go get the arrow and see what kind of blood we got. Go home, review the footage, see what we got. I think he's down.
We carefully get down, go out to the food plot, look for blood. There is none. We find the arrow, and it's not what you want to smell on your arrows.
Definitely got some stuff on it we don't want on there.
So we made the decision to just back out and come back the next morning when we had some help. We knew right where he ran into the woods. We know which pine tree he made, you know, a circle around, and there's no blood. There's not a drop of blood anywhere. We make the decision that the three of us are just going to start circling in this thicket. And this thicket, on, you know, the west half of this farm, when I say thicket, you can't see almost your hand in front of your face.
Looks like could be litter blood.
I would say a lot of the blood will high.
Covering every rabbit trail, coyote trail, anything we could, looking, searching, doing everything we could do. We had not found a single drop of blood. So at that point, we made the decision to back out and call a dog.
Another friend of ours shot a deer almost exactly.
So he shows up, we get the dog and we walk all the way back there, probably the longest walk of my life, and we put Hank on the trail and off he goes. And I mean, in less than 5 minutes, I get a text from Lance. He's like, "Hey, you guys find any blood?" "No, sir, haven't found a drop." "You?" "Nope, no blood, but we got your deer."
Kyle's gonna take him at him too, ain't they? Oh, hell yeah. Dang, dude.
Congrats, my man.
Oh, yeah, bud.
Good job, buddy.
He didn't go far, did he?
No, he didn't. Way we like him. We'll get him.
Well, that was an easy one.
I mean, literally took 5 minutes to find this deer. Ran, I think, 93 yards by GPS from point of impact to where he had fallen over dead. And so we're all crashing through this nice, big, nasty thicket trying to find, you know, this these two guys and the deer and the dog, and we can't even, you can't see them until you get 20 feet from them. And we get there, and there's a gray trash bag that's like 10 feet from this deer. And my buddy Jason's like, I walked through here twice. Like, he walked within 10 feet of this deer 2 times and never saw it laying there.
Yeah, he does.
Got them. These are kind of a little blind.
At this point, we're 19, 20 hours after the shot, and just the weight that's lifted off your shoulders when somebody says, here he is just an incredible feeling. It was so awesome to finally get my hands on this deer and see him up close and personal. So 20 hours of replaying that shot, not only in my head, but on my phone. I remember sitting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, getting my phone out and just replaying that shot in slow motion over and over and over again. 20 hours of not knowing, 20 hours of anticipation, 20 hours of doubt, 20 hours of what could I have done different. I mean, when you finally get your hands on that animal, it's just this feeling of relief, and just all of that. It's almost like melting. It's pretty special. My whole family has a passion for the outdoors, and it absolutely gives us, a chance to be together and a chance to bond. My kids are getting older, and don't get to spend a lot of time with them, but my daughter will make an appearance, for gun season, and show up and kill the biggest buck on the farm with little to no effort. But that's she's pretty lucky. And then gives me the time that I got to spend in the tree stand, with my son this year, just filming me. I would have been fine if we didn't even kill a deer, but we all do this for different reasons, and we all have our own opinions or own ideas about the sport and what it means to all of us. But it's just an incredible feeling to take something like that, put this plan in place, like how this played out. Like, it's never happened for me before, so it's not something that just happens every day, that you gain access to a farm, you put a plan in place, you clear 5 acres, plant it in a food plot, put a water hole in and hang a stand, and the first day you're hunting this deer, he walks right underneath your tree stand. It just doesn't happen all the time. It was a really, really awesome experience.